All right, everybody, welcome back to another.
Wood Stove Wednesday.
Dude, we have been getting requests. I know it's been months. I'm sorry.
It's been a lot of months since last winter, I think.
We took some time off and it just time off kept going. And I guess I got lazy. I was just enjoying being fat and happy. But it's time to get back to work.
We stopped keto. That was our problem.
We're gonna try. I'm trying to get back on it, but I need my baby to get back on it with me, or at least help. Let's get back in the right way. Yeah, right before Christmas we were like keto. Pfft, no, so I think I gained like 8 pounds back, and I don't know how much you gained back.
I told Brian I'm really glad we're not drug addicts because we never get off drugs.
We'd be lifers, crack for life. Anyway, so What's Up Wednesdays, because we got some new subscribers. What's Up Wednesdays is basically just us sitting down, chit-chatting with you guys and yeah, telling some stories or whatever. It's just like whatever we want to do kind of video. But this video is special because Martin sent us an email. And he had a bunch of great questions, and I just replied to him. I said, we're going to do a Wood Stove Wednesday on it. And since everybody's been asked for a Wood Stove Wednesday, just made sense.
We're going for it.
Let's do it. All right, so here, let's just start off. You mentioned the hunting and fishing and how moose can feed you for a year. How do you preserve the entire moose when living off grid? So we don't do this, but you can, and this is what we want to do. Is when we get our harvested a moose or deer, is typically we just take it to a like Jerry's seafood.
Meats.
And meat and they just do all the butchering for you. But our brother-in-law, this last time
They do it by hand.
they had the grinder and they just processed everything themselves. So eventually we'll get there, but we're not there yet. But that's not what the question said. The question said, how do you preserve it? We just bought a big, it's not a big, it's a propane freezer, and we're going to do a video on our appliances. But that's where we keep our fish, our crab, and our meats in this freezer. So we got a little freezer in our refrigerator, and then we got a larger freezer
for our meats and seafood.
Yeah, for the stuff that we're keeping for the long haul. How do you guys get electricity? Electricity is pretty straightforward. We for 2 years we just ran a generator. So we'd run a generator at during the day, and at night we just didn't have electricity. And then on our 3rd year, I think we invested in an inverter and some batteries. So now we got a battery bank. So now we run the generator in the day, and then once night hits or once the gas burns out, around 8 o'clock, if the gas isn't out or not, we'll just turn the generator off, and the batteries will take us through the morning. Even running the Toyo stove, it runs it all the way through the morning.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Solar panels are in the future, but they're expensive, and we're on a shoestring budget. So one day we'll get there. One day, I mean,
our whole life's a one day.
We get tons of questions about why don't we do this or that, and the reason is because
it all takes money.
We're not rich. So if I was rich, I mean, I bought a tractor, so you may think I'm rich.
But I'm not.
I'm not rich. How do you get water and how do you heat it? So this is another what we're doing right now as opposed to what we'd like to do. Right now, all of our water comes from rain, and since we live in a rainforest, it's pretty easy to get. And then in the summers, we hook up a pump so we can pump water to our sink. But in the winters, we unplug everything, and we have these 5-gallon jugs, and we just have a PVC pipe out of the tote, and we just fill these 5-gallon jugs up and bring them into the cabin. But eventually, we would like for our plumbing and our pump and everything to be inside a heated area so that we don't have to unhook stuff every winter, and it'll just constantly be good to go.
Another future
endeavor. You need money, and we ain't got it. So, how do we heat it? Well, everything inside the cabin we heat on the stove, and you can either heat it on the wood stove or you can just fire up the range and heat it on the range. That's what we typically do.
That's how we
but
wash all of our dishes.
we have a EcoTemp hot water on demand, and that's what we use for showers in the summertime. And in the wintertime, you just warm up some warm water and take a sponge bath.
Yeah. We stink a lot.
Ooh, I'm right, lover. I am right. You mentioned upfront investments from renovations to, I think, getting uh, photo panels. Is there any way to ballpark the cost of this? I should have paid more attention to this and made some ballpark assumptions because it's expensive. So we went to, last time we were in Fairbanks, we went to a solar place, and for 5 solar panels, a charge control, and just the wiring, we were looking at like 3,000 bucks. Our inverter that we already bought was about $2,000, and our batteries are just golf cart batteries, super cheap. We've got 8 of those, and those were $100 a pop from Costco.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not good at math, and they say never do math on camera, so I'm not going to. But add all that up on a calculator, and that would be a good basic startup system, I think.
Yeah. Which I think we need to replace our batteries. What is it? They last for about 3 years?
3 to 5 years, yeah. And eventually we'd like to get these Trojan batteries, but the $100 versus like $300 to $400 to $500 batteries, I don't know, man. I can't buy. Well, what's 500 times 8? That's a lot of money. I can buy $800 worth of batteries, but is right.
Why did they last a long time?
Well, they're supposed to last longer, but they're built specifically for solar panels, so
I gotcha.
you can deep charge them better and all that stuff. But eventually we'll get there. But
That'll be a save up.
yeah, that's another saving project. And for your initial investment, it depends on how big you want to build. I would say if you want to have a completely framed in, dry, and your interior done, I would say you're looking at least 30,000 bucks. That's low ballpark. At least 30,000 bucks. So
For a tiny cabin.
yeah, and it depends on where you are. For us, man, I put when we first moved out here, I'd always put timelines. Like, I'm gonna get this done in this time, and then after like a year and a half, 2 years, I was like, I'm done with the timelines.
He did what Nancy Pelosi did.
We don't do politics. We don't do politics.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
But I don't even, what the hell was I even talking about? You said Nancy Pelosi, and I hit a red line.
We were talking about how much money to build a cabin in Alaska, because things
so
prices
timelines.
are jacked up.
Timelines
Oh,
is.
that's right. Ripping up the timeline.
I would just not give yourself timelines, because it takes either double what I would think it would take or triple. And I would say cost-wise, I would go that route too, either double or triple what you think it's going to cost, because it just always ends up taking longer and costing a little bit, especially for us living on an island, because it takes us about, I think, to and from one pass to town and back is $15. So if I'm doing something really small and I go to town and get something and I forget, like a washer or a nut or something like a 50-cent piece, I'm out $15 because I got to go back to that 50-cent piece. Now costs me 15 and 50 cents, $15.50. So
Time and money.
time and money. I like winter and cold and snow and ice, but I also like the mountains. What's the climate like where you live, and how much snow do you get? That's a great question, because people in the interior say that we're not really Alaskans. That's not true, by the way. Because people here say that they're... No, I'm just kidding. We're not starting a war between Alaskans here. But we are very unique as opposed to what everybody thinks Alaska's like. So us in like British Columbia, we are like British Columbia neighbors. So Our winters are mild, but our summers are mild. So our winter weather, like right now, we range in between 20 and 30 degrees, and we'll get like a foot of snow. Like last week, we got a foot of snow, but then today it warmed up to 37 degrees. It rained all day. The snow's all gone. So it's not like if you like snow machining or snowmobiling for you guys down south.
You're gonna have to take a ferry.
You gotta go up in the mountains where the snow doesn't melt. You gotta get up above the rain line where it stays 32 degrees.
And we're right at sea level, so.
Yeah, so, but if you like water sport type stuff, then this is this place. But, so 20 to 30 degrees, and then it'll pop up to like 40 in the high 30s and 40 degrees in the winter, and then go back down to, and then the lowest, I would say, is really typically the lowest we get is around the teens.
We did some 10 degrees.
Just the last 2 weeks ago, we were at 10 degrees. And the year before that, we had a week or so of 8 degrees. But at the mine that I worked at, it's about 800 to 1,200 feet in altitude, and we would have a week or 2 weeks of like -2, -3 degrees. But that's nowhere.
Why I picked Southeast Alaska.
Yeah, like her brother lives in Fairbanks, so when you say, "Oh, we got like a week of 10 degrees," and they're like, "Oh, we had a week of -50," you're like,
dude, that is so painful to go outside and do work in that. I hate that. I wouldn't do it. I hate the bitter cold. So.
But the wintertime activities, like if you like snowmobiling or skiing or anything, well, not skiing, that's too cold, but there's fun things to do there in the wintertime.
We went sledding at what
-12 or -15, something like that.
Yeah.
But it just all your snot in your nose just crystallizes as soon as you walk outside. It's cold. There ain't no getting around it. It's just cold.
Yeah.
So here it's a lot milder. So in the summertime, we stay in between the 50s and 60s. We get up into the 70 degree.
Except for this last summer.
And this last summer we had like 2 weeks of 80-degree weather. And you should have seen the bikinis and all the kids out there on the lake in town. They were all like on their wakeboards and swimming and.
Oh, the paddleboards.
Paddleboards, yeah.
Yeah, dude, you thought we were in Florida. How many bikinis were out there?
We came into town one time and I seen this boat like in the docks, and all these girls were in their bikinis, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I had to show everybody my ghostly white legs, but 80 degrees here is like as hot as it gets, and that's hot for us.
I don't ever remember it getting this hot for that long.
No, that was hot. So he says, for a working guy like me, aside from all the exactly how to live on grid, what's your best advice? So here's what we did. And I'll get the question they're going to say, and I answered it before, but I'll answer it again. What do we do for a living? I'm retired Army, and we just live off my retirement. That's it. I worked at a mine. I retired, worked at a mine for a few years, and with my retirement and that income, we just saved up a bunch of money and
bought this cabin.
Bought it and had everything paid off. So that's what we do. We just live off a little tiny retirement paycheck now. So when we say we're poor, I mean, we're not like we can afford dental insurance, but that's why our teeth are so white. But so what would you do? There's a lot of things you could do. One is like working at a mine. Almost all the mines here are camp mines. So that means you go to work for 2 weeks and you'll either have a week or 2 weeks off. So there's like Kensington, Greens Creek, there's Pogo. So there's mine. I mean, this is the gold capital of America, I think. So there's mines everywhere up here. I don't want to take any away from you Idaho miners. I'm sure there's mines there too, but yeah. So that would be something. If I was single and wanted to do this, would just be work at a mine for 2 weeks, come back here, start building for 2 weeks, and we did that for 2 years, and then I retired completely, and now we just live out here full time. The other thing you could do is commercial fishing, because those guys.
Man.
They work for like 3 months and then they just make bank and then they're off for the rest of the year. And a lot of times people get other jobs, but if you get a good haul on your fish for that year, you know, you can make 40, 50,000 bucks, depending on, you know, if you're entry level, probably not, but if you're a seasoned guy and working on a good crew, yeah, you can make
Is it
some
really
money.
that much money?
Yeah, they pull in.
You know that for a fact, though?
Yeah, because I like watching other videos besides off-grid stuff.
Oh.
I mean, it depends on what you're doing and what you're fishing and how long you're fishing. Like the crabbing guys, they make enough money to live off for a year. 30,000 bucks easy to make.
Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, the more dangerous it is, the more you're going to get paid, and the more you, and it's also on. It's not like you're getting paid by that. I mean, you are kind of getting paid by the hour, but it's also what you're pulling in. So if you go dry like a, you know, and aren't pulling anything in, then you're not going to get paid nothing. They pay by the pound, and you get a portion of what they get.
Gotcha.
If I'm wrong on any of this, and anybody's commercial fisherman, just tell them, light me up down below. I love reading negative comments.
I play with my hair too much.
Yeah, so I think that was it. So big thank you to Martin for your email. I enjoy always getting emails and comments and messages and stuff. So
Everybody wanted to know if we were still okay.
oh my gosh, thank you guys that checked on us. We were just fine. My son got married, so we were down at his wedding in Arkansas, and then my mom and brother both live in Texas now, so we stayed and visit with them for a little bit, and then we just came back up here and spent Christmas in town, and
Kind of took a break.
yeah,
Well
then
needed break.
big storms came and we kind of got stuck a week longer than we wanted to, and then yeah, now we're back at it. So once again, thank you guys
For
and
sticking with us.
I hope you enjoyed your Wood Stove Wednesday. Oh my gosh! All right, next Wood Stove Wednesday we'll do the commenter of the week because I wasn't prepared for this. Or we could do one now. What do you want?
No, that's okay.
All right, next Wood Stove Wednesday commenter of the week. But this commenter of the week goes to Martin. Thank you very much.
Take care.
What do you say?
You got to say it first. If you want to leave a comment, what is it?
Well, I don't remember. Dude, we're so out of practice. Yeah, if you want us to
If
know
you want us
anything,
to know,
if you want us to know anything, what do you got to do?
leave a comment below.
That's perfect. All right, bye.
Bye.